Have you ever gone no contact with a woman, hoping she'd come crawling back? Regretting everything she did only to find she moved on like you never existed? It stings, doesn't it? The silence you thought would be your revenge becomes your own prison. What if I told you, no contact alone is not enough? What if I told you that the ancient Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius, yes, the Stoic philosopher king, left behind wisdom that could not only help you handle heartbreak, but flip the script entirely? In this video, we're diving deep into 10 Stoic suggestions from Marcus Aurelius to crush her ego, reclaim your power, and transform your love life for good. If you're serious about getting over her, or making her regret ever losing you, then don't skip a second. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and watch till the very end, because this might just be the shift your heart's been waiting for. It was 2 months after Ethan went no contact with Mia. The last conversation they had ended with her saying, "I just need time to figure myself out." Ethan, wounded but composed, nodded and said nothing. He thought silence would be power, that pulling away would teach her a lesson, that she'd feel the loss, come back humbled, and realize his worth. But 2 months later, she was dating someone new, posting photos, smiling wider than she ever did with him, almost like he was erased. Ethan sat there staring at his phone, asking the question every man in his position eventually asks, why didn't no contact work? And that's when he stumbled upon a line from Marcus Aurelius that changed everything. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. That's when Ethan understood. No contact is not a tactic for her. It's a transformation for you. Let's break down the 10 Stoic moves that turned Ethan from forgotten to unforgettable, and how you can do the same. 1. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When was the last time you looked at an old photo of you two? You know the one I'm talking about. The one where you're smiling, like you had the whole world in your hands. Maybe it was taken on a beach trip or late at night laughing in the kitchen. You didn't know it then, but that moment would later feel like a lie. And now, she's gone, moved on. Maybe she's with someone else. Maybe she's flaunting it. Maybe she's completely silent, but somehow that silence is even louder. Let me tell you about Ethan again, the guy whose story this video is built around. Because in many ways, Ethan could be you. When Mia walked out of his life, Ethan thought no contact would be enough. He assumed that silence would punish her, that not texting would make her miss him, that she'd crumble under the weight of his absence. But here's the twist. He realized something painfully true. She didn't care about the silence, because nothing changed. She still had the same image of him, needy, emotional, reactive. And then Ethan stumbled across a line from Marcus Aurelius that flipped his world upside down. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. And he asked himself, am I becoming her? See, Mia played games. She acted hot and cold. She left the door half open just to see if he'd keep knocking. And Ethan? He went silent. But he was still checking her social media, waiting for her text, hoping for her regret. He wasn't healing. He was hiding. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe you've gone no contact, but deep down you're still reacting to her. You're still letting her dictate your worth. You're not free, you're just quiet. Ethan's turning point came when he realized he didn't need to match her energy. He needed to transcend it. He started asking the real questions. Who was I before I met her? What dreams did I have that I buried to make her happy? Am I proud of the man I've become? Or have I just become a reflection of my heartbreak? He stopped posting just to get her attention. He stopped pretending he was okay. He didn't become colder. He became deeper. Instead of being petty, he became powerful. Instead of trying to be heard, he started to build a life so loud her ego couldn't survive in the echo. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant. Revenge isn't blocking her. It's not ignoring her stories. It's not out flirting her on Instagram. The best revenge is becoming someone who no longer needs revenge. So let me ask you, honestly, do you want her to regret losing you? Or do you want to no longer care whether she regrets it or not? That's the shift. That's Stoicism. And that's the power of becoming unlike your enemy. Your silence doesn't hurt her. Your transformation, that's what shakes her ego. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever just stared at your phone, praying for a notification from her? That little buzz that makes your heart race. That hey, that pulls you right back into the loop of hope, pain, and what ifs. Be honest, how many times have you refreshed her Instagram, checked her last scene, wondered, Is she missing me like I'm missing her? It's okay. You're not alone. Ethan did that too. Every morning he woke up hoping for a message. Every night he went to bed replaying the last word she said. I just need space. It's not you, it's me. Or worse, nothing at all. He thought she held the power. But then, everything changed when he read this line from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That hit him, because he had spent weeks trying to control everything outside of himself. He hoped no contact would control her emotions. He hoped staying off social media would control her curiosity. He hoped ignoring her would control the narrative, but none of it worked. Because the truth? You can't control whether she comes back. You can't control if she regrets leaving. You can't control her heart. But what you can control is yours. Let me ask you again, and I want you to really reflect on this. What would your life look like? If you stopped waiting for her? What would you do tomorrow morning if you were your own priority? Ethan made a decision. He turned his pain into purpose. He stopped checking his phone and started checking in with himself. He created morning rituals, read Stoic philosophy, meditated, journaled his emotions, not for her to read, but for himself to understand. And here's the most important thing. He gave up the illusion of control, and in doing that, he discovered real power. Power to decide how he would feel that day. Power to stop chasing closure. Power to live not as a broken man hoping for her return, but as a rising man building his future. And you know what? The moment he stopped focusing on what she was doing, he started to feel alive again. The weight lifted. The silence became peaceful instead of painful. And the obsession? It transformed into clarity. That's Stoicism. Not pretending to feel nothing, but choosing to feel what serves you. So I'll ask you one last thing. Do you want to spend the next month trying to control a woman who walked away? Or do you want to reclaim control over the one thing that's always been yours, your mind? Because the second you realize that truth, that's when the healing begins. That's when she starts to fade, and you start to rise. To how ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything, which happens in life. Did you ever think she would be the one who left? Do you remember those late-night conversations where she said things like, I could never live without you, or you're the only one who gets me? You probably believed her. You looked at her like a home, like a constant, like a promise, and now she's gone, just like that. Maybe she stopped replying. Maybe she said she needed space. Maybe she moved on with someone else faster than you ever imagined. And you're sitting here, trying to understand how the person who once held your hand so tightly could let go so easily. It doesn't feel fair, does it? Ethan felt the same way. He thought Mia would never leave. They made plans, shared dreams, even talked about kids. And then one random Tuesday, it all ended. No warning, no slow fade, just gone. He kept asking, how could she do this? And that's when he came across a line from Marcus Aurelius. How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. Ethan didn't get it at first, but then it sank in. Why are we shocked that people change? Why are we surprised when love fades, when feelings shift, when someone we thought was forever becomes a stranger? Life is unpredictable. It always has been. And the more we expect certainty from people, the more we suffer when they act like humans. Let me ask you something. Is this the first time someone disappointed you? Probably not. Go back further. Think about the first time you felt abandoned. Maybe it was a parent who left, a friend who betrayed you, a teacher who didn't believe in you. This pain, it's not new. It just has a new face. And the truth is, pain isn't rare. What's rare is the person who doesn't let that pain define them. Ethan began to understand something powerful. Being surprised by heartbreak is like being surprised that fire burns. Yes, it hurts. But what did you expect? Love is beautiful, but it comes with risk. And when you accept that heartbreak is a possibility, not a betrayal, that's when healing begins. Ethan stopped blaming Mia for being human. He stopped seeing her exit as some evil plot. And in doing so, he freed himself from the victim mindset. He began to expect less from others and more from himself. He started showing up for himself in the way he once wished she would show up for him. And that shift, that's what gave him peace. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop being surprised by life? Are you ready to stop asking why she left? And start asking what you'll do now that she's gone? Because once you expect nothing, everything becomes a lesson. 4. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke. When you think about her now, does it still hurt? Does your chest tighten when you see a couple walking by, laughing, holding hands like the world doesn't exist? Do certain songs feel like they were written just to torture you? It's strange, isn't it? One person can leave, but somehow their absence stays. In your heart, in your thoughts, in your memories. Ethan knew that feeling too well. After Mia left, everything became a trigger. The coffee shop they used to go to. The scent of her perfume on a stranger. The way his phone would light up, and for a split second he'd hope it was her. The pain wasn't just emotional. It was physical, heavy, constant, until one night Ethan found a sentence that unlocked something inside him. It was from Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke. Ethan sat with that line for hours, and then it hit him. It wasn't Mia's leaving that destroyed him. It was the story he told himself about it. The story that said I wasn't enough. The story that said she was the only one who could ever love me like that. The story that said I've lost my future. Let me ask you, what story are you telling yourself? Because that pain you feel, it's real. But it's not coming from the breakup alone. It's coming from the meaning you've attached to it. Ethan had made Mia his everything. His peace. His validation. His purpose. So when she left, it felt like his entire identity crumbled. But here's the truth. She was never his peace. She was a moment.
He made her a monument.
So he began to take his power back, not by pretending he didn't care, but by changing the way he cared. He started looking at the breakup not as a death sentence, but as a rebirth. He realized that the pain he was holding on to, it wasn't coming from her anymore. It was coming from him, from the idea that she had the power to define his worth. And just like Marcus Aurelius said, he revoked that power. He reclaimed it. He decided that she no longer got to live rent-free in his head, shaping how he saw himself. And in that moment, the pain began to loosen its grip. So I'll ask you from one heart to another, are you hurting because she's gone? Or are you hurting because you believe her leaving means something about you? You can't always stop someone from walking away. But you can stop the story that says you weren't worthy of staying. Revoke the meaning. Rewrite the story. And watch yourself begin again. 5. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. When was the last time you were happy alone? Not distracted. Not texting someone. Not watching a movie just to fill the silence. I mean, genuinely happy by yourself. No one beside you. No woman to validate you. Just you and still at peace. Ethan couldn't remember the last time he felt that kind of peace either. After Mia left, he searched for happiness everywhere except within himself. Nights out, empty conversations with other women. Scrolling endlessly just to forget her face. Chasing validation like a man chasing his own shadow. But one evening, something shifted. He read this sentence from Marcus Aurelius. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself in your way of thinking. At first it sounded ridiculous. How could happiness be within him when everything he wanted was outside of him? He had lost the woman he loved. He felt betrayed, discarded, replaced. How could happiness possibly come from inside? But Ethan kept thinking about that quote. He started to question the story he'd been living.
Had his happiness always depended on Mia?
Was his joy built on how much love he received from her? Had he forgotten how to create joy for himself? So he did something strange, something small. He made himself a cup of coffee at sunrise, just like he used to before she came into his life. He sat quietly. No phone, no music. Just him in the morning. And for a moment, just a flicker, he felt it again. Peace. Not because anything outside had changed, but because he had. Ethan realized something beautiful. He didn't need a perfect life to be happy. He just needed to stop outsourcing his happiness to someone else. Let me ask you, when did you stop doing the little things that used to make you feel alive? Was it when she stopped texting you? Was it when she said she needed space? Was it when you started believing that life without her couldn't be joyful? Because the truth is, your happiness never belonged to her. She might have made you feel something, yes. But the meaning you gave to that feeling, that was always yours. We forget how simple life can be. We forget that peace isn't bought or begged for. or dependent on someone texting back. Sometimes happiness is a quiet walk with no destination. Sometimes it's making your bed, cleaning your space, and sitting down with your thoughts instead of running from them. Ethan began to build joy in the small things again. A workout, a cold shower, a book, a deep breath. And slowly, the weight lifted. Not because she came back, but because he did. So let me ask you now, what if the only thing missing in your life is your own presence? What if the love you were looking for in her was actually buried inside you all along? 6. Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. Do you still feel like she wronged you? Like she betrayed something sacred? Like she promised you the stars and then left you in the dark? Tell me honestly, do you replay the things she said in your mind like a painful loop? Ethan did. For weeks his mind was a courtroom. Every memory with Mia was now evidence. Evidence that she was selfish. Evidence that she didn't love him enough. Evidence that she hurt him. He kept the pain alive by nursing the belief that he was a victim. And maybe you feel the same. Maybe you're still holding on to the idea that you were injured. You were abandoned. You were treated unfairly. But then Ethan read one sentence that hit like a lightning bolt. Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. Marcus Aurelius. It sounded cold at first, like it was dismissing his pain. But the more he sat with it, the more it made sense. It wasn't saying you weren't hurt. It was saying, you're the one who decides how long you stay hurt. Let me ask you, what are you telling yourself about what she did? That it broke you? That you'll never be the same? That you'll never love again? Because here's the truth that Ethan finally faced. It wasn't Mia's actions that kept him stuck. It was his interpretation of them. He believed she intended to hurt him. He believed she owed him forever. He believed he was injured, and so he lived like a wounded man. But what if she didn't leave to hurt you? What if she just followed her own confusion? What if her choices were never about your worth, but about her own emotional chaos? The pain doesn't come from the breakup. It comes from the belief that it shouldn't have happened. Ethan realized if he could let go of the idea that he was wronged, he could finally let go of the weight he was dragging around. He didn't need revenge. He didn't need closure. He just needed a new story. So he said to himself, she made her choice. I accept it. It doesn't define me. And just like that, the injury began to fade. Not because it wasn't real, but because he stopped reopening the wound. Let me ask you, brother, are you ready to stop being the victim in your own story? Are you ready to stop dragging the chains of what she did and start walking freely into who you're becoming? Because once you reject the belief that you were destroyed, you start to realize you were only being rebuilt. And trust me, what you're becoming next is something she won't even recognize. 7. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. How many nights have you spent thinking about what she's doing right now? Is she missing you? Is she with someone else? Does she regret leaving? You scroll through her stories, searching for signs. You analyze every silence. You fantasize about her texting you, telling you she made a mistake. You keep waiting for something outside of you to make the pain stop. Ethan did that too. After Mia left, he gave her full control of his emotions, even in her absence. If she liked his post, he felt a spark of hope. If she didn't respond to a message, he spiraled into overthinking. His mood was no longer his own. And then one day, as if life was trying to wake him up, he stumbled upon a line from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Ethan read it over and over. And then it hit him like a punch in the chest. He'd been trying to control everything except the one thing. He actually could, his own mind. Let me ask you, have you ever noticed how often you try to control what she thinks, how she feels, what she does? You can't, you never could. You couldn't stop her from walking away. You couldn't force her to love you longer, but you can choose what happens in your mind. Ethan began to see it clearly. He had no power over Mia's choices, but he had full power over the way he responded to them. So he started slow. When the thoughts came, those obsessive emotional waves, he didn't fight them. He observed them. He asked, is this thought useful? Or is it just feeding my pain? Most of the time, the answer was obvious. And slowly, by shifting his focus inward, he found something surprising. Calm. Let me ask you, what if you stopped trying to control her and started mastering you? What if, instead of begging the universe to change your situation, you change the lens through which you see it? You don't need her to come back for you to feel worthy again. You don't need her to apologize to gain peace. You only need to reclaim your mind, because that is where your power lives. Ethan did it. Not overnight, but day by day, thought by thought, he reminded himself, she's gone. But my peace doesn't have to go with her. So ask yourself right now, do you want power? Then stop giving it away to things and people you can't control. The storm outside will always come, but the storm inside, that's yours to tame. 8. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Have you ever wanted to hurt her back? Maybe not physically, but emotionally. Have you ever thought, she made me feel worthless, I'll make her regret it. She left me, I'll show her what she lost. That burning desire to prove a point, that temptation to send a cold message, ignore her call, or post something just to get under her skin. Ethan felt that too. In fact, one night, just weeks after Mia walked away, Ethan drafted the most brutal message he'd ever written. He was hurt. He was humiliated. And under all that pain was rage. Rage that she could move on so easily. Rage that she smiled in photos while he drowned in silence. But before he hit send, something stopped him. He saw a quote, one that felt like it had been written just for that moment. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Marcus Aurelius. Ethan paused. He read it again. He realized the anger he was about to release wasn't strength, it was surrender. Let me ask you, have you ever lashed out in anger and actually felt better afterward? Or did you just feel empty? Did you win or did you just sink lower? Ethan understood something powerful that night. Anger is a thief. It pretends to give you control. It pretends to restore your pride. But in the end, it takes your peace and gives you nothing. Because the moment you act out of anger, especially towards someone who's already left, you give them even more power over your emotions. And she doesn't even have to be there to receive it. Ethan deleted the message. Not because she didn't deserve to hear it, but because he didn't deserve to carry that poison anymore. He chose dignity over damage. He chose silence over self-sabotage. Let me ask you, what would happen if you didn't react? What would happen if you let your growth be the loudest response? What if you finally understood that anger is a fire that burns the one who holds it? Ethan stopped trying to punish Mia through cold posts or emotional outbursts. He focused instead on healing himself, and that was the move that truly crushed her ego. Not because he wanted revenge, but because his silence, his peace, his evolution, it all screamed one message louder than any insult ever could. You didn't break me. So if you're carrying rage right now, brother, don't let it guide you. Let it fuel your transformation, because that's the one thing she'll never see coming. 9. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When you think about her leaving, what do you want most? Is it to hurt her back? To make her feel the same pain you're feeling? Maybe you dream of showing her that you've moved on, but with a sharp edge, cold, distant, unforgiving. Ethan once thought the same way. Right after Mia left, he wanted to be angry, bitter, and cold. He wanted to prove he could be just as cold as she was. He imagined sending harsh words, ignoring her when she reached out, and shutting her out completely. But then he stumbled on a line from Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. At first, Ethan didn't fully grasp it. Revenge felt like a way to reclaim power, a way to heal. But the more he thought about it, the more he saw the truth behind those words. If he became bitter, angry, or cold, wouldn't he just be playing the same game? Wouldn't he be lowering himself to the level of the very person who caused his pain? He began to ask himself, is that the man I want to be? The one consumed by pain and hatred? Or do I want to be stronger than that? Let me ask you, have you ever found yourself sinking into anger, trying to match the coldness you feel from someone else? Have you ever sacrificed your own peace just to make a point? Ethan realized something powerful. True power isn't in revenge. It's in rising above, in becoming better, in refusing to let someone else's actions dictate your character. He decided to respond not with bitterness, but with grace, not with cruelty, but with kindness, not with hatred, but with calm strength. It wasn't easy. Some days the temptation to lash out was overwhelming, but every time he felt that urge, he remembered Marcus Aurelius's words. He chose instead to focus on healing, on growing, on becoming a man who did not let heartbreak harden him. Let me ask you, what kind of man do you want to be after this? Do you want to carry the bitterness like a badge of honor? Or do you want to build a legacy of strength, resilience, and dignity? The best revenge isn't making her pay. It's making yourself unbreakable. And when you do that, you win in a way no one can take away. So if you're standing at a crossroads right now, remember Ethan's story. Choose to be better. Choose to be stronger. Choose to be unlike the pain that tried to consume you. With that choice, you crush her ego, not by tearing down, but by rising up. 10. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. Let me ask you something simple yet powerful. The next time you wake up, really wake up, what's the very first thought that crosses your mind? Is it about her? About the pain? About what you lost? Or is it about you? Because Ethan, for a long time, woke up with one thought. She's gone. That phrase haunted his mornings like a shadow. Every sunrise felt heavy, like a reminder that he was alone. But then something changed. One morning, after weeks of dark thoughts, Ethan remembered a teaching from Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. That sentence hit him deep. He thought, what if I started each day not with pain but with gratitude? What if instead of focusing on what was lost, he focused on what was still here? The breath in his lungs, the beating of his heart, the chance to start over. Let me ask you, what if every morning was a fresh page? What if the weight of yesterday's heartbreak didn't have to follow you into today? Ethan started small. He made it a habit to sit on his balcony each morning. No phone, no distractions, just silence and the rising sun. And he made a simple promise to himself. Today I will be grateful I woke up. Today I will find strength in life itself. And slowly something incredible happened. The pain didn't disappear overnight, but it lost its grip. He began to see his life as a gift, not a punishment. The mornings became moments of power, moments where he could choose to rebuild, moments where he could remind himself that, despite the heartbreak, he was still here, still breathing, still capable of love, still capable of happiness. And brother, that realization changed everything. I want you to think back to your own mornings after your heartbreak. How did they feel? Were they filled with dread? Or did you find even a small spark of hope? What if that hope could grow? What if it could become the foundation for your new life? Because the truth is, no matter how much someone else hurt you, the greatest gift you have is your own life. You're here, you're alive, and every morning brings a chance to reclaim your story. Ethan's story didn't end with Mia. It ended with him, stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever. So I want to leave you with this. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember that you are alive, and that is a precious privilege. 6 months after no contact, Ethan received a message. It read, "Hey, I saw your interview on YouTube. You seem different. I miss the way we used to talk." Ethan read it, smiled, and put his phone down. Not out of spite, but out of peace. He had already moved on. Not just from her, but from the version of himself who needed her. And that is what crushed her ego. Not silence, not tactics, but transformation. No contact is just the beginning. It's not the silence that changes everything. It's what you do in the silence that makes all the difference. Let Marcus Aurelius guide your hands. Build, evolve, rise. Let her feel the distance, not just in miles, but in mindsets. And if she ever returns, it won't be to the same man she left behind, because that man no longer exists. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time.